Hey everybody, it's Kristen here with Softlex Company, and we have a beading party with our good friend Danielle Wickes of Danielle Wickes Jewelry and John Bead. Welcome, Danielle.
Hi, how are you doing?
Oh my gosh, doing really good. How was your Halloween?
It was fun. It was really fun. It
We
was
chatted
scary.
a little bit before we went live. And I was saying I wanted to wait to ask what your kids were for the holiday, until we go live. And you had kind of a funny response to that.
Yep, we were changing our mind up until yesterday at the last minute. My oldest changed his costume 4 times, and then my youngest had a bunch of ideas and ended up wearing the same one as last year.
So great. I'm
Yep.
my oldest wore the same costume, I think, for 3 or 4 years. I'm trying to remember. And the costume was the same, but he changed the outfit. It was
Okay.
Mario from Super Mario Brothers. And
Oh,
so
that's cool.
the first year he was it, they didn't have costumes because it wasn't like so popular, at that time. So I think the first year we just made our own out of like overalls and things like that. And then the second year there was a costume. So we got that. And then he was it, I think, one more time. So I think we got like 3 years out of Mario.
That's a good costume. That one is always in style. I mean, Mario was cool when I was a kid.
I
Yeah,
know. Me
it's just
too.
timeless.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was a good costume. We didn't my oldest dressed up for Halloween yesterday, but my husband and I went to a Halloween party like a couple weeks ago. So we got dressed up then, but yesterday kind of felt strange because we were like, we did this already.
Yep.
Halloween's over.
No. Forever
But
Halloween.
my youngest was a mushroom, so I quite loved
Um,
that costume. He was a toadstool with like a mushroom fairy, I guess, right? Because he had like a
um,
quite a pretty red and white dress on and then a mushroom hat on top. It looked great. It was really fun.
that's super
Um,
cute.
and I was glad he went out. Him and a couple of friends went out trick or treating. So a few teens out there on the town trick or treating, which I thought was fun.
I trick or treated as a teen too. I loved it. I didn't
Yeah,
want to stop then. I knew I was too old, but I just kept going.
I
It's so
know
fun to be out at night running around, and just
it
free out
is,
there. It's really
and
cool.
it's nice for them to be kids. Kids these days, he's a senior and he's doing the whole college thing. And so he has a lot on his plate right now and he is working really hard. And so it's kind of nice that he can just like go out and be a kid, be a little kid for a
Yeah,
little while.
it's a nice little break from all that adulting stuff that's coming ahead, right?
It is. All
Yeah.
right. Well, everyone who's joining us, I see so many of you now. Hello, hello. We are hanging out with Danielle Wickes of Danielle Wickes Jewelry and John Bead. And we at Softlex Company have brought in quite a little handful of seed beading stuff over the past, I don't know, couple of months. And we have some brand new seed bead trios that Danielle made some beautiful patterns up with them. And we also have some new findings, and we have the thread and the needles. And so she's going to share with us some ideas, as you can see on her beautiful table right there, some patterns to work with. And I'm going to share some stuff that we currently have on sale.
Ooh.
So before we go to Danielle, I'm going to share some things on my table that we just put on sale today. However, I want you all to do some voting in the background. So first I'm going to bring up Danielle's table, and then you can all tell us which of the two patterns would you like her to demonstrate. So let's put you on full screen here, Danielle, for a second.
Okay.
Oh, they're so pretty. So she's got the bottom one is the Arctic circle trio, and she's going to show us how to finish that one off. So that one's not going to be the one you're voting on for the starting, but the middle one, which is the vintage holiday, or the top one, which is the red rose tea. I think it's red rose tea or rose red tea, one of those. So let us know if you want the top one or the middle one. So go ahead and do some voting here in the background, and then we'll count that up and Danielle will show us a little more about it. So the red rose tea is the top and the vintage holiday is the middle. I think Damien is here in the background. If you can kind of help keep track, Damien, of which ones they are voting for. Oh, they're so pretty.
This one came out fun. I love this one.
It's so fun. I love how the top one is very, it's like a simple geometric, which really catches my eye. I love that bright color zigzagging through the middle. And then the middle one with those diamonds is just a stunner. And then the bottom one having the scene is just really, really lovely. So they're all so different. You did such a great job, Danielle, putting some patterns together for us. And I should mention, we did load the PDF file for her patterns, for Danielle's patterns, into the Softflex VIB Studio Facebook group. If you look in the files section, you can find it there and download all 3 patterns. And we'll also post it on the Softflex company blog. And I think, Danielle, you might have some place you put them as well.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I put them in the John Bead blog as well, in a Facebook group.
Yes.
And then I can always, if there's anyone who's struggling to find it, I can always email it to you, or whatever the easiest way, Messenger.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for that, Danielle.
Sure.
Okay, so let me show you some of the things going on over here. We just did a winter holiday sale, so 20% off of everything in the winter holiday category, which will have things like our brand new gingerbread design kit. And it's, we don't put the design kits on sale that often. So that's really sweet that you can grab that one. That's our newest monthly kit. And then the gingerbread bead strand. Both of those are 20% off in that category. And then you have all of the Delica trios we put on there in the sale category too. So these are all 20% off starting today. These are the 3 that Danielle's going to be working with, and these are the 3 she showed the patterns for. As well as your beading thread, we have silver and gold, and your beading needles. Those are in there. And lastly, we have these gorgeous new findings. So we have these up there for sale, as well as the beadwork findings that we brought in a little while ago. So any of those beadwork findings and these end pieces here that Danielle will be using today, those are all on sale. And then a few other items we just sort of curated and put together. I don't have everything here, but I've got, we've got these beautiful melon beads that are in sort of wintry holiday colors. I've got 3 out of the 5 strands. I used 2 of them when we did the that design where it was like slightly different. So we've got one color on one side, one color on the other, just like an interesting, fun change in colors. So that uses the other 2 melon colors that we have for sale. So all of those are in the category. These gorgeous blue beads. We also have a gorgeous strand of these in red. So basically we focused on blue and white and red and green colorways, and we just curated some items on there. We have some tiara cast. So we have these peace dove pendants. They say peace on one side, and then they have the dove on the other. And as you guys all know, that tiara cast is no longer manufacturing these. So once they're gone, they're gone. We have these, I think they're called cathedral links and toggles. We put those up for sale. They kind of have some vines that go around that feel kind of wintry, winter holiday wreath-like. So those are in there, as well as the Sacred Hearts. We have a Celtic cross, a crucifix cross, and some Star of Davids. That all went up there. I think we have like the chai pendant too. And then we also have some really sweet teeny tinies. These are the larger ceramic snowmen. So those went up for sale. And then these are the teeny tiny little snowman heads along with some trees. You might remember these from last year. I think we're down to the last of our stock on all of these little teeny tinies. We've got Santa. So cute. And then we also have these little penguins. How they ended up in there, I don't know. Little winter penguins just to complete your little winter scene. And then we also have some of the John Bead holiday charms, the sweet and petite charms. We had these last year. They just went up again today. So another batch of them. This is the one that I happen to have here, but we've got a handful of styles. I think there might be 5 or 6 different ones. So you can check that out. So all of that's on sale for the winter holiday sale that started today. It's good until next Tuesday, November 7th, or while supplies last, because in some cases we're down to the end of things. And then we also have white soft flex beading wire and soft touch beading wire on sale. So in soft touch, it comes in very fine in the white, which is the only diameter we have the white in, and you can use it for some bead weaving type projects, or weaving, crocheting, or some really small, fine gemstones that have teeny tiny holes and that you can't use anything much thicker. And then we have Softlex white quartz in the fine and the medium diameters. So any size, 10 foot, 30 foot, 100 foot, or our bulk are all marked down 20% off. So you won't find these in the category where all the other beads are. You have to kind of go and find these separately and add them to your cart. There's no coupon needed. It'll just automatically show up at 20% off for those. All right. So let's go back to you, Danielle, and just see what was our winning design. Let's go back and see if I can look through a few of them. Or maybe Damien did a good job of middle design. I'm not surprised. Oh my gosh.
I like this one. Okay. It's cool.
It's so pretty. It's so pretty.
Thanks.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that is
right.
our winner. Let's go for it.
Let's go for it. Yeah, that one is the vintage sparkle bulbs. And so it's the pattern, if you're looking for this pattern, it's available in the VIB studio on the file section. And you can also find it in the John Bead Facebook group file section. But basically what's on there is you'll find a chart that looks like this. And that is the visual chart. And then you'll find the, here's what it looks like, stitched up, finished, kind of like, so you can visualize your design. And then you'll find pages and pages of word chart. And word chart is good because that actually is a lot easier to start from. And if you guys remember from when we did the earrings with the owls, this is just like that. It's going to be treating 3 beads as 1 bead instead of 2. So it goes even faster, which makes making a bracelet a little bit faster. So that's what I'm doing off camera is you'll see me picking up the rows like this. I'll be picking up the first 12 beads, and then I'll pick up 3 color A, skip the first 3, and go through the next 3, pick up 3 more, skip the next 3, go through the last 3. And that's kind of how it goes over and over for the entire design, basically. So I'll show you guys how to do that, and then we'll finish it. We'll finish one of these with stitch-in finding. That sound good?
That sounds great.
Those beads over here.
Which size of the stitch-in finding do you use for these?
I have been working with the size 10.
Okay.
for this one. And it's on a 3-drop and a 2-drop. It's easier to get it stitched in. On the 1-drop, it's a little bit, because it's designed for a size 10 seed bead, so it's kind of tighter on one of those, but it works really well with a 2-drop and 3-drop design. So I thought that would be a really cool way to show it off. And it also, it just makes it really a clean finish that's flat. A lot of these designs that I used to do, I used to go through this kind of stage where I would stitch a little tab button that sticks out, and then you fold it over and stitch it over like a bar finding or one of those, those end bar findings kind of things. I used to do those a lot. And then you would have this side be kind of bulky, but this way it's just totally flat. So I've always really liked that. The whole concept is very cool.
Very cool. And I'm pulling a needle out from our needles we got from you, and I'm just wondering, are they all the same size? I think they are.
It looked to me like it was in the pack that you guys have. Is the you have the size 10s, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, 10, 12. 10, 12. Okay. So both of them are going to work fine. It's easier to thread the 10.
Okay. So the 10 is how do I know that? I'll have a larger hole or a smaller hole?
Larger. It would be the larger one. I think the middle are the 10s.
Okay, cool.
Yes, yeah.
Right in here. They do look like they have the largest hole. Thank you. I'm a total newbie.
You are? Oh, this is going to be fun. Cool. And I'm using a size, you know what? I have this one stuck in my mat. It's either a 10 or a 12. I'm not sure. I'm just going with it.
Well, either way, I have the right one then.
And I'm using the gold thread. This is the Miyuki size B nylon. Yes. Really beautiful thread. One of the cool things about it is that it really doesn't fray and it doesn't stretch. It doesn't do all the, the things that a lot of threads do. So it's pretty easy to get it through needle and all that stuff.
Cool. That's going to be fun. Oh, somebody's asking, is there a drawing for today? That's a good question. I'm going to come up with one. Yes. And Brenda is asking, what is the length of the finished bracelet?
Oh, let me get that for you. So let's see, going to the vintage bulbs one, it comes out, well, so before the finding, the beaded length is about 5 1/4. And then once you get the findings on, before I've put on a clasp, I'm already up at 6 1/4. So once you get a clasp on it, you're closer to 7 1/4, depending what clasp you do. So if like you did a toggle, because keep in mind, you'll have a jump ring on both sides, and you'll have either a lobster claw, a toggle, or whatever you're using. So it can be modified very easily by just adding extra rows coming out from the side. So if you get to the end and you feel like you want to add more, you can do that. You could even shorten it too if you wanted. And that's the cool thing about peyote patterns is they're just so, they're so flexible in that way. You have control to make your design whatever length you'd like. Oh, right. And so for how much thread to cut, I would say only cut about what you're comfortable working with. So about an arm span is what I start with usually. Most of the time you end up adding thread on a bracelet. Bracelet designs, you just kind of, to cut enough thread for that, you'd be working with such a long strand that you get some knots and kind of takes the fun out of it a little bit. So for threading can be tricky, and getting your needle threaded, the best way to do it is to just kind of try to bring the eye of the needle toward the end of your thread. If you notice your thread's fraying at all in the end, just trim it. But for the most part, I can usually get them through. After a few tries. And there we go. So just, give yourself grace, take some time with it. Sometimes it doesn't always go through smoothly, just threading needles. When I used to teach in person, that was the first 15 to even 20 minutes of class. We would walk around and help everybody thread needles. So that's the hard part of being live on, the Zooms and the StreamYards is
it does take a while, to get that part going. So Rhonda's asking, what's the colors of the Delica? I think she meant to say Delicas you're using.
So this is the vintage, vintage holiday trio. It's on softflex.com. And it has colors in it that are these kind of sparkle transparent. One of them is a color lined. And there's an emerald and a wine and a vintage gold.
Oh, it's why it has so much sparkle on it and looks so elegant when it's all stitched up. And I just want to remind everyone, if you because I didn't say it in the beginning, but we did say it when we first introduced these, that Danielle made these mixes for us. She curated these colors, and they are a really special little trios that she put together just for you guys, for us here at softluxcompany.com. And we thank you so much for that, Danielle. They are beautiful.
Thanks. I enjoyed it. So anytime. I thought it was really fun.
So I did start a giveaway. It's hashtag seed beads, and you have to put that in to win. And I'm going to give away the one vintage holiday set, because that's what we ended up working with today.
That's awesome. And so on the pattern, the first thing I usually do when I'm starting out with a seed bead design is I will lay out my colors in order of A, B, and C. And your pattern will tell you which one. So for us, our color A is the gold color. It's the it actually comes up as yellow saffron transparent. It really does kind of look like a saffron.
It does.
A little sparkliness to it.
And I totally missed how much thread you said you were cutting to begin with.
Oh, yeah. And so it's super forgiving. You want to do like a wingspan or less.
Okay.
Just any more than that, I find that I just get so many knots. It's not worth it. Adding thread is super, super easy. So it's definitely recommended to go with a little bit less. And this one is the color B on the pattern, Fancy Lined Copper. It says Fancy Lined Copper is the color, but this really has a wine, sparkly wine going to it. So I think it's actually a copper glass with a wine colored lining.
So pretty.
Just I know I'm obsessed with seed beads, but it's because of things like this. Because they're so cool. The way that they make these colors is so many different ways, and
they catch the light so differently each time, and yeah, it makes them really like a living, breathing thing.
Yeah. And only in seed beading can you end up with like 5 different ways to make a green, right? It's like this one
exactly
is it says fancy lined green turquoise, but what I see here, just from knowing a little bit about seed beads, is it's a color lined. So it's a clear glass with a green color line in there, and it's all got an AB coating on it, every single one. So you could just pop a sparkle there. Perfect holidays. So I'm switching over to my word chart, and this one is super easy to start. In fact, I made all the patterns, with the exception of the Arctic Moonrise, which we've got some snow at the beginning of that one, but the other two start out a little easier with the same color for a little bit. And let me explain why that helps. It helps because when you start peyote, it spins on you. And so if your first 3 rows are all the same color, which on the vintage bulbs it is, 12A, 6A, you don't have to worry about if it spins. If it spins, so what? You can just keep going. But on the other ones, you have to kind of, on the Arctic Moonrise, you have to look at it. But all I'm doing now is I'm going to pick up 12 of the color A. So there's 4. And once you've got those on, so again, that's, let's see, 12 color A. And leave a tail. In this case, we're going to use this tail at the end to attach the finding. So leave yourself about 12 inches or even 15 inches or so, just so you have maneuverability. And I'm going to see if I can get my camera to be a little easier to see. Are you guys struggling to see it a little bit? I feel like it's dark and it's not very good. So I'm going to bring it down a smidge. Let's see if that helps.
Do you do any kind of knot on the end, or do you just sort of leave enough space that it's okay?
Yeah, I don't do any knots.
Okay.
It is super, super easy to get it to work without a knot. And so what I do is I just leave the tail. So here's my tail side. And I'm just going to leave it so that it just stays in place for now. And the beads are still able to move at this time, which is okay. And after you get your first 2-3 rows done, that locks in place. And some people do use a stop bead, but I just never do because I feel like it doesn't really need it.
Cool.
But I'm going to pick up 3. So now I'm working on, in peyote, I should have explained this first. Sorry, guys. In peyote stitch, when you first start, you've got 1 and 2. See how it says 1 and 2 right there? That's rows 1 and 2. And you just string those all at once. And then when you add row 3, it pops that 1 and 2 out into 2 rows. So it just, in our case, we're doing 3 drops. So that 6A you saw as row 2, I'm going to break it up into 2 sets of 3. So there's my first 3. And back here, I'm going to skip those 3. And then go through the next 3. And so, oh, excuse me. You just want to pinch the thread and pull. And when you pull that, and you pull those working and tail threads apart, this is kind of my peyote secret, is if you pull the beads apart like that, you'll get this pop. And it looks a little wonky right now, but don't worry. Once you get the rest of the beads on, it cleans up really well. But you got those 3 beads sitting next to the 3 that we skipped. And we went through the 3 after that. And so we're going to do that one more time. I'm going to pick up 3 more gold beads, skip the next 3 gold beads, and then go through the last 3. So here's my next 3. I skipped those 3 there. And just trying to get through these last 3. And again, I'm just going to pinch the beads here. Sorry about that. I've got the camera really close, so I'm working really tight under there. Let me know if I go off, okay?
Okay.
And then there's the end there. So that is rows 1, 2, and 3.
Oh.
It's super easy to start this way.
Fascinating.
What do you think so far? Do you like it? Is it easy or?
I don't really know what I'm doing right now, but that's okay.
Oh no. Is there anything I could explain a little better? Or
I think it's more that I'm just a visual learner, and so I probably just need to watch you again, afterwards to know what was going on.
I can restart if you want, or should I keep going?
No, keep going.
Keep going? Okay. Slow me down if I start going fast. Because this is when I teach a lot, so I tend to have like a fast forward button or something. That happens a lot.
Plus, I'm sure there's quite a few people that I've never peyote stitched at all before. So I'm sure that what you're saying makes sense for those of you out there that have done it.
Well, if you're brand new to peyote, this is quite the jumping in. Like the first one. So you're doing great, I think. And so if you're after you got first 3 rows, right? We strung the 12, and then we picked up those 3, we skipped the first 3, went through the next 3, picked up 3 more, skipped those next 3 in the row, and then went through the last 3. You'll end up with that, and then you're ready to put row 4 on. But since we're working in 3 drop, we're going to pick up the first 3 beads in the pattern and the last 3 beads as 1 bead. And so each row will have the total of 6 beads. Something's got me. I think my little one gave me a cold.
Probably, right? Yeah.
I'm in denial right now. So, cold, but also last night we were out in the cold and stuff. So it's like,
I was going to say that whenever I'm outside, like in the evening, that can kind of bother me the next day a little bit.
Yeah.
A few people are saying that starting peyote is the hardest part and that the first 3 rows are the easiest to mess up. So
that is so true. It is so true. And it seems so simple, but then like I was saying before, if this had a pattern to it, meaning if it wasn't all one color, what people end up with having happen is one of these sides turns and becomes this side. And it was supposed to be row 1 instead of row 3.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
So that happens a lot. And when that happens to people, the frustration level gets kind of high. And they're like, what?
I feel like I'm winning just because I was able to string the thread onto the needle. So that's a huge win for me today.
Yeah, that can be really tricky.
I will say it was this thread was lovely to work with. It went on really easily. Usually I struggle, and I
Oh,
didn't.
nice.
So this thread that we have here from you at John Bead is fantastic.
Oh, that's nice to hear. It's a great compliment. All right, so for row 4, for the first part, I'm just going to pick up 3A, and then we'll come back to it to figure out the next one. Ooh, where's my needle? There it is. Okay, so we get the next 3 here, and we're still just working with A. And from where you are here, we have up beads now. And what I mean by up beads is there's, Jill Wiseman calls them the sticky FE beads, and I love that. But they're the 3 that are raised compared to the others. And so you just want to go through those 3 and then just carry on through there. Pull tight. And what you'll get is those 2 will stick up right next to the ones in the front there. And then you just go back, take another look at your pattern. And the pattern we've got 1A left over because we only used the first 3. So we got that 1A, and then I need a C and an A. So I'm going to go A, C, A. I'm going to pick up an A here. Here's a color C, color A. And then I'm going to go through the last 3 beads on this. So that's those last 3 from row 3. And so you'll get row 4 all done just like that. And the cool thing is once you go through those 3 beads, it straightens them out too. On both sides, it straightens out the first row and the second one. Or in that case, the third one, sorry. And that's the whole way to do it. So let's do a few more, and then I can just check in and see how everybody's feeling, and if you want to see different colors, we can do all that. So we just did 4. And row 5, super easy. We're just gonna do 6A. So we just want to do 3 and 3. So here's 3 more. And then just taking a look right back here at where we are, we want to again go through the 3 beads that are sticking up. So that's these 3 beads right here. And then just pull tight right there. And we've got 3 more to go.
I'm going to get done with this, and I'm going to be like, this is a free form peyote.
Which is totally okay to do. In fact, beautiful
sculpture. It might be a sculpture.
A sculpture is good too. Oh. I was loving some of the patterns that Sarah's been posting.
I know. It's been so nice to see. She's been very busy stitching over there, stitching away with all of our wonderful new Delicas and seed bead trios.
She made the most beautiful ones, like just stripes, right?
Yeah, she did some fun stripe ones. She did a really cute pumpkin one, and then some stripes. And yeah, they looked really lovely. It's been keeping her calm and her mind, her hands busy, which is calming her mind through all the stuff she's going through. So
yeah, absolutely.
So it's definitely a beautiful practice.
I do find it really meditative because you have to focus a little bit on the count and the colors. So it really does help.
And there's a lot to the process that I can find really nice, right? Like you have a blank pattern that you can color in and decide what your design is going to be and what colors you're going to choose. And then you can go pick your colors from the actual seed beads themselves, and then you start your pattern. Like there's just a lot of different facets to the process that are really lovely.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something that you create. To me, it's as close as you can get to crayons with beads.
Right.
You're coloring in that graph, and then stitching it up, and anybody can color those for you. You can print out a blank one and have a, actually that reminds me, I should do a blank 3-drop for you guys if I can remember to do that.
Oh, cool. And this way you could use that to create some of your own patterns.
Yeah. Do you guys still have the rainbow palette that you created? Your original rainbow?
We do, yes. Yeah.
Then folks would have like every color they need to do a pattern. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. I think the only color we ran out of was orange, but we were going to look into seeing if there was a different tone of orange to bring in if the one we chose was a little more tough to find. I haven't heard back on that, but I think Joyce was looking into that with John Bead to find
cool. That's awesome. Yeah, let me know which one you pick. I have some favorites out there. There's a persimmon that I think you would love.
Ooh, that sounds
I know
pretty.
you'd like it because we have the same eye for colors. So yeah, for sure.
We do. Painting, yes, Dana says painting with seed beads. Totally.
Painting with seed beads. Oh, Dina, that's true.
I actually, speaking of that, Dana, I've been thinking about it. I haven't had a chance to do it yet, but I was thinking when we got those Delicas in that it would be really fun to take one of my small paintings and then embellish it with the beads and just do it in like a few places here and there and see what that kind of looks like. So thanks for mentioning that. I might really do that on one of my videos one of these days when I get a chance.
Oh, wow. That would be neat. Can't wait to see that. And there's a way also with the program that I use to create these patterns that you can bring photographs in and have it do transfer that picture into a peyote pattern or a loom pattern, or it does a lot of stuff. You can do a lot of different kinds of stitches. And so that would be cool to do one of your paintings. You would need a lot of seed bead colors.
I would, which is why I was thinking I might just like pick a little area and just do a little embellishment and see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. But wouldn't it be cool? Maybe I'll have to take this on to like do an epic, just like one of your originals, but as a peyote pattern.
Oh, we have a collaboration coming in the works here, Danielle. I think that might be what we have to do.
I think we need to. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be so much fun. Rhonda is asking, can all peyote stitch patterns be done using 3-drop?
No, not all. So most patterns you find are illustrated in a way that they're one-off, one bead, one bead, one bead. The way that when you're doing a 3-drop, you're designing it that way from the get-go because let me show you on one of these other ones. You see how they're offset? That little brick lay pattern is offset in sets of 3. And then, for example, in a 2-drop, it would be offset in groups of 2. So the word charts you wouldn't get the same picture. You would get it. It would shift everything. If you tried to stitch it up just as it's written, but done with 3-drop, it would shift all of the pixels around. So they wouldn't be in the same order. They would be kind of slant from each other a little bit. But no, that would be so cool if you could do that, right? It would be.
Yeah, it's good to understand how that works a little bit. Dana says it's so neat to start with such tiny beads and create beautiful patterns and pictures.
Yep, exactly. This was my absolute hands down most favorite thing to do, to be totally honest. If I had to pick only one seed beading thing, it would be something like this and this little family of creating my own images. I'm doing my own stitching.
So cool. It's such a humble bead to begin with, right? Like you're just taking something so tiny and simple and beautiful just on its own, but then you can put them into all these gorgeous patterns and really use your creativity in so many different ways.
Yeah, so true.
And how long have you been seed beading, Danielle?
Oh, gosh, so I have to think about it. I think I took my first seed beading class in, when would that have been? I feel like I want to say 2009, 2010. it's all kind of fuzzing together because I've tried seed beading at one point in time and didn't immediately click for me. And I was more of a wire person. And I was making metals and like precious metal clay and stuff like that. That was where I really got my start with jewelry making. But then there was this moment when I saw someone else's work and I liked it and I wanted to try it. And I think I actually bought Beadwork magazine and went home and tried to do it. But without any experience or any class or teaching, I just couldn't quite figure it out. And then fast forward many years later, I was watching YouTube videos. And I think one of the ones I was watching was Art Beads Cafe.
Oh, yeah. They have a lot of videos. So cool.
Cynthia and Sherry were doing seed beading on a loom. And they had these patterns that they were doing. They were coloring graph paper and stitching them up on these looms. And I was just mesmerized. I was just like, literally like replay. I loved it so much. And I think that's where it all got started. And kind of around the same time, I discovered the leather wrap bracelet, stitching seed beads in between leather wraps. Like,
oh, yeah.
These two things happen kind of simultaneously, but. And so I'm going to show how to catch up where you are. Like, let's say that you need to figure out where you are in your pattern. There's a really quick, easy way to do it. It's just to count each of the sides. And so I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now I'm just starting row 14. See how fast? Redrop goes way faster than single. Way faster. So my row 14, I'm going to pick up 3A, and then I'm going to go A, C, A. So here's the 3A.
We have someone asking, can you explain the L and the R on the pattern? Are you turning your work over?
Oh, yeah. So there, that indicator is there to let you know that you're starting from the left or starting from the right. And some people really find that handy and helpful. I tend to not need it as much because the side that I'm starting from is going to be the side that my thread is exiting from. And so I just pick up those beads in that order. But when you first started your pattern, some people like to come along and mark their tail position at the start. And then you know that is your left or your right, depending on if your pattern is a top right, top left, bottom right start. And that all comes from your pattern designer. So the program I use lets you choose that. I believe it defaults to top right, but I might have this set to bottom right now. So looks like in this case, I have it set to the default because we started up here. So our pattern started on the right. So if you look here, we're heading, it says left because you're going to end up on the left because of the way 1 and 2 are strung together, and then right and left. But that's all, it's relative, right? It's based on where you started. So that's why I don't need it. I work without it. It's on there because some people use it. I just don't. So hopefully that answers the question. It can be a little confusing, but because I flip my work. But if you're somebody who keeps your work in the right position like that, your tail's here on the right, and that could be one way to think about it, and you're heading to the left, and then you're heading back.
So it just depends on how you work because you flip yours over, you said, right? Whereas
I'm making pancakes. The whole time I'm working, I'm just making a pancake because I need to be stitching with, like, it's awkward for me to come from, so this way is my belly. It's awkward for me to stitch this way because my hand's twisted like that. So I prefer to kind of move the piece so that I'm pushing this direction. I'm kind of away from myself. Hopefully that explains a little bit. It's a little confusing, I know. But, I have a cool story I could tell about not understanding my peyote pattern. It's good for laughs.
Yes.
But the very first time I ever taught a class in person for peyote stitch, I had a very brilliant accountant in the class. And she was catching all the details that I missed. And I used to work from my patterns and not my word charts. And I had not realized that my patterns were starting from the top because I'm a loomer and I loom from the bottom to the top. So I read my patterns just because I'm a weirdo, total truth there. When I'm stitching, I would always work from the bottom and stitch to the top. And that's just how I did it. And so I started doing my peyote the same way. And I'd put my ruler on it and I'd guide myself up. Well, she's like, your word chart does not match what you're saying. And I'm like, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. And I went and I looked and I'm like, uh-oh.
So your word chart is going the other direction.
Yeah, because the default in the bead tool that I use, it starts at the top. And so I just, yeah.
Oops.
You got it, all those little details. She was really cool. She ended up being in a lot of my classes, and I started sending her patterns in advance and asking her, hey, can you check this out?
Hey, can you? Oh, that's awesome. No, that's a great story. I love that because I've had a few things like that happen too, where it's like, you know, it's tough to teach in person and you're trying to get everything straight, but not everything comes out exactly as you were thinking. Something like that happens. And then, you know, I've had someone get really upset and leave my class in a huff and just be very unhappy with what they created. And then,
oh no,
lo and behold, like she ended up taking a ton more classes with me. Because for some reason, you know, it was like a yin and a yang. Like I was, my style was pushing her, and like, you know, it was frustrating her in the beginning. But then she realized, oh, I kind of like that push and pull a little bit. And so it's funny the things that we end up coming up against in real life classes. I remember it was like only my second or third class too, and I was like so devastated that she was so upset. And then, you know, and then she messaged me like the next day, I'm so sorry that happened. I can't believe I did that. And I'm like, okay, well, are you okay? Is everything all right?
That can be so hard. Honestly, that's like one of my worst fears is if someone was to get upset. I'm like, oh no. I think in that one case, like it was lucky because everybody got a laugh, but like I was embarrassed, of course, but everybody got it. It was more important to me than it was to anybody there in the room.
Right. They were all like, ha ha, that's funny. And you were like, oh my gosh, what happened?
Like, gosh, I'm teacher. I don't even know my own pattern. It's like, oh great. But yeah, I know if someone's upset, then it just hurts because this is supposed to be our happy place. This is where we go to get away from all that, right? So definitely.
But it was a happy end. It was a happy ending. In the
best you can hope for.
Yeah.
So true. And so I'm just going along here. How is everyone feeling about reading patterns starting? We could always start another one. I don't mind doing that. We can show finishing, whatever you feel like doing. Let me know.
Maybe we'll show finishing next, and then if we have time, we could always, you know, actually we don't have a ton of time, so probably show finishing is probably good.
Oh yeah, that's a good point because I gotta take my son to guitar. I always forget on Wednesdays. He's learning electric guitar. It's so cool.
Oh, that's so fun.
Isn't that neat?
Okay, I'm gonna show you guys what I ended up doing over here. It's silly. I just went my own way. And I'm like spiraling around. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I feel like in the end, I'll just keep spiraling and see where I end up. Maybe.
You kind of did like a round stitch.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. If I just kind of went around, I just was like, I'm just going to freeform it and just keep adding into beads and see what happens.
Hey, that kind of like makes me think of peyote ropes. You would probably love freestyle peyote too.
I know. I've seen freestyle peyote and I think it's really lovely. So maybe that's something I have to
polish. Yeah.
Look at.
You would love that. That's cool. And I think also when it's your own pattern too, it's easier to follow. When you're following someone else's pattern, it's way harder.
Well, this is very easy to follow because there's no pattern at all, Danielle. I'm just going around. I'm just going, now I'm going to put it through these beads. And now I'm going to put it through these beads.
So awesome. All right. So I'm just laying out the, I switched patterns on you guys. Now I've got the Arctic Moonrise out. And so I'm just throwing out a few colors. And I think I probably only need the colors A and B, because on this pattern, my ends end with just those two. So that's what I've got going. You just need a few beads, and no matter which pattern you're doing, to get the attachment to fit is super, super easy. So all you got to do is right now our finished edge looks like this. So ignore these, ignore that, and the finding. Our finished edge looks like this. So take your piece and just lay it out so that you've got that orientation. So our down bead and our up beads over here. And then you want to take your finding and put the indented side facing that direction. And this is super forgiving, and you could do it in different ways. This is just one way that it'll work. So try other stuff if you feel like it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 2 beads, go through the finding, and then I'm going to go through the next 3 beads and pick up 3 more beads, go through the last 3 in the row. Then I'm going to pick up 1, go through the finding, pick up 1. From there, you're just weaving in, doing all the weave-ins from that spot. So how that looks on a design like this is, because I want it to look, I want to match my colors. So I'm going to pick up 2 of the color that are right here, because it's going to sit right on top of those. I'm going to try to do this without flipping it, just to keep it super clear. So you'll want to go through the bead that's built in on the finding. And then I'm going to go through those 3 blue up beads. And there's that. And now we need 3 more. So here I'm switching to blue because I'm just matching what I have here. Go through blue. And from here, I'm going to pick up 1 blue bead, which is my edge bead, to go through the finding. And then I'll pick up 1 more bead. And I'm going to head back through those 3 that we just added. And if you pinch everything, it'll keep it all nice and tight. And from here, you just need to reinforce. It'll look a little bit loose when you first get everything kind of set on there. But as you make your little trips around, it gets tighter. So I'm going to go through these. And then I'll go through the finding one. It doesn't matter which direction in peyote stitch you can choose. When you're working in peyote stitch, you can go, after you're out of a bead, you can go to the one on the right or the one on the left. And so that's what I did there, but treat those 3 beads as one. So when you're following your thread path, you're not crossing out of those. So here I'm coming back through, just turning. And all I'm doing now is just reinforcing all of that goodness that we had from before. So let's get through those 3. I'm going to go through these 3 again. And through the finding here. Okay. And then last but not least, I'm going to lock this down. A couple more things you can do if you want to. If you feel like it needs it, you can do a peyote right left turn by coming out of one of these. For example, I'm exiting from the 3 edge, 1 in from the finding. A little dark, sorry guys. I'm going to turn and just go through it again. And that's a cool way to get it to lock. Just kind of like that. You can come back through and just head to the other side. Do that over there too if you want. And that's it in a nutshell, how to attach the finding. And it's all diagrammed in the handout for you, showing the reinforcing and the initial adds.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
You do such a beautiful job with your handouts, Danielle. They're so clear and easy to understand.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Hey, that's a great compliment coming from you, because you know the designs. The graphic design work is hard.
It is.
It is really.
Does your program help you out, or do you have to manually do quite a bit still?
For the peyote patterns, the program pretty much does these for you. So let me show you an example. Like Bead 204 will do these for you really nicely, but things like this, I'm in a different program for those. I'm using Illustrator.
Oh, so yeah, you're doing that part manually then.
Yeah, I just, what's it called? Penning and curving and curves.
I don't have to do that very often these days, but the first job I had in a bead shop, I did a lot of that kind of work because we sold a lot of kits and I did a lot of the illustrator work. So I know exactly what you're up to.
Yep.
And it's a lot.
Yeah, especially, so it sounds like you would illustrate designs that seed beaters had done.
Someone else had done. Well, it wasn't always seed beading, but just kit designs in general. So some of it was stringing or seed beading or whatever else the designer came up with. Yeah. So pretty fun.
Yeah.
Will you hold that end up closer to the screen just to see? Oh, it looks so pretty.
Thank you.
Now, do you knot it or anything at the end?
No, I actually just keep going. So
you just keep going through. I remember you saying that on other projects that we've done. You just sort of
you just
lock
weave
it into place.
And after you do, I would do what I just did 2, 3, maybe even 4 more times, just coming back this way, maybe making a few turns, and then you just push down with scissors and pull up on the thread and trim.
Wonderful. You're getting a lot of love for your directions. Kim says Danielle's directions are so clear and easy to follow. I've taken many of her Michael's classes.
Oh, thank you, Kim. I appreciate it.
Zach is saying she adores your handouts so much. You have a whole folder of Danielle designs.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, thank you.
Yes, Nancy, I'm going to have a rewatch too, because I just went off on my own little spirally world here. Which is funny because I have been painting a lot of spiral painting. So it's sort of like, someone said it's like, just like you're painting, just free form it and see what happens. It's starting to look a little bit like a heart. I don't know. We'll see. See how it's starting to kind of get a little, I got to round out that a little bit, but I'm getting a little heart happening. Who knows?
That's a neat idea. You can do like a round shaped heart. That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. Super fun. I think that it's definitely something I don't dabble with that often. I'm always intrigued with what you create. I always love your designs, Danielle. So maybe this was a nice getting my feet wet.
Yeah.
Doing that. Here's Danielle's Etsy shop, which is Danielle Wickes at etsy.com.
Oh, thank you.
And you can also find her. Actually, tell everyone what you're up to, what you've got going on right now, Danielle.
I have an odd count peyote class this Friday coming up at 12 o'clock my time, Pacific time. So it's 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. And that one, you go to, it's already there, michaels.com/classes. That's where you can find that one.
Wonderful. Thanks. So that you said, what day was that?
Tomorrow? That's Friday. This Friday. Oh, Friday. So the day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing some ornaments. And the ornaments have a peyote bracelet inside.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, and it's 1 drop. So it's just 1 bead at a time, not with sets of 3 or 2. It's just regular.
Right.
But it's odd count.
Beautiful.
There's a weird turn in there.
Yeah. So you can make the bracelet and then put it inside of an ornament for gift giving.
Yep.
That's really,
and I put a little tartan pattern on the back, and I had a lot of fun with this one.
Really cool. I bet. Here, I'm going to put you up on the full screen just to show it one more time.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. That's the inside. And then the way it works is it's like an ornament to hang. You can put it also inside of a Christmas card. Just hang it on the tree.
Oh my gosh.
You can see what they got inside.
Oh, I love that. That is so adorable.
Oh, thanks. We're going to show how we made it Friday. So
right on. So go make sure to check out the Michaels. I keep hitting that one. Go make sure to check out the Michaels classes for that one. Anything else you have coming up that you want to talk about?
Let's see. Next Wednesday, I'm live with Sam. We're going to do some macrame. Sam and Rachel. And then, what else do we have going on? I'm not teaching on November 10th because that's my birthday. I'm going to go see my parents.
Oh, happy birthday.
My birthday and my brother's birthday and my dad's retirement party.
Doing it all at once. Where are your parents?
They are in Northern California, not super far from you guys. They're in
No. Yeah.
like Folsom area, so like
Oh,
kind of like
wow.
just a little north or south of Sacramento. My geography is terrible. I didn't grow up there. They moved there later, so
that's going to be awesome to see your family and get to celebrate all together. I love that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, so everyone who's watching, if you didn't get in your entry yet, you must be here at the end when I choose a winner. Just go ahead and do hashtag seed beads, and I'm going to go pick a winner in just a minute. Let's see how many people we've got on here. We've got about 82 entries right now. Let me share the screen.
Yay.
Yay. And I'm going to give away one of the vintage holiday trios. That's the one that Danielle was showing us today. It has the gold, sort of a wine color, and the green. Super pretty. You can find all 3 of the trio sets at softflexcompany.com, and they're right now 20% off, as well as with all of the thread, the needles, the end findings, and some of the beadwork findings that we brought in a few weeks ago, maybe months. I don't know. I don't know how long ago it was. And we also have a 20% sale going on for all of our winter holiday selections. So you can get our new gingerbread kit, as well as the gingerbread strand, and a whole handful of other items that we curated into that winter holiday category at softflexcompany.com. It just started today. It goes until next Tuesday or while supplies last. And all right, let's see what we got here. We've got 91 people entered. Happy early birthday, Danielle.
Thank you.
Let's see who we got. Zach! Oh, hooray! Zach, you just won something recently too, Zach. Congratulations. You've been on a lucky streak. I love that. So make sure to send us a message at info@softflexcompany.com, and this way we can get your seed bead palette out to you, your vintage holiday seed beads, so that you can make one of the patterns that Danielle just shared with us. Congratulations. And to reiterate, if you want the patterns, just go check them out at Softflex Company's Facebook group, the Softflex VIB Studio. We put them in files, or you can also find them in the John Bead Facebook group, also on the John Bead blog, and then we'll also post them on the Softflex Company blog. They haven't made it over there yet, so the Facebook group is the best place to get it right now. Zach is here. Yes. Congratulations. Send us a message email us at info@softflexcompany.com. Well, let's see if it wants to select it and let us know your shipping information. Yay. Thanks so much for joining me today, Danielle.
Thanks for having me.
It was a lot of fun. Happy, what is it? It's Shawin, it is Dia de los Muertos, right? And it is All Saints Day, I think. So happy all of it. And I always have a good time whenever we're here together. I hope that you did too. And
me too.
We all just love your patterns and what you have to share with us. Your color collections are beautiful, and we so appreciate you and all of the time you spend with us. So thanks again. And have a good time bringing your son to guitar lessons. Has he been doing that for a while?
We started at the beginning of the summer, so he's just getting into it.
Oh, right on. He's kind of past the like awkward beginning stage, and now he's kind of enjoying it. So
he is, yeah.
I understand the awkward beginner stage.
That's where you're hoping they stick with it,
That's
right?
where I am right now. So yeah, I'm going to stick with it and see where a couple of months from now I'll be ready to tackle one of those awesome patterns. Thanks, everybody. Join us on Friday for Joyce's Spill the Beads with Joyce, her new series. That's at 9:30 a.m. And I will see you all back again on Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific time for Free Spirit Beading. Love you all. Bye.